Hey my little pumpkins, welcome back to the channel, and welcome if you're new. We are adding African wild dogs to Siana, and this was a very fun little exhibit to try, and kind of staying in the vein of kind of like my newer Lost Creek style. I mean, I know we haven't jumped into Planet Zoo in a little bit, but keeping with that Lost Creek style, I wanted to start doing some smaller, more believable exhibits. And we know that Suyana's not really known for that. It's kind of known for its over-the-top, non-believable budget, massive natural exhibits. But ever since I started, the more the more realistic, smaller exhibits in Lost Creek, that kind of style has really appealed to me lately. Really love like the type of style that Caesar Creates does with the really hyper realistic smaller type builds. Very rarely do you see like, Zoov or Caesar Creates or those guys making these massive just, huge footprint of habitats. They're always more smaller and contained, hyper detailed, hyper realism, and that is what I kind of wanted to do here. Like, let's try to make this just a little more believable. Like every exhibit doesn't have to be this massive, wide open, space, because a lot of us know that zoos aren't really like that. They're limited on space, and I think there's a way to do this with still keeping like the SDAN sort of fantasy style. It's just my style. That's how I've always designed since, the Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 days, since 2015 when we first got our hands on Planet Coaster, all the way through 2023. I am just a more fantasy style builder. But over the last probably year or so, just kind of dabbling a little bit more into that mixture of realism, but just kind of pushing the boundaries with the budget and what's believable, or making you think, if there was some zoo out there that had some mega donors, maybe this could be possible. I love kind of tiptoeing on that realm of possibility, kind of like with my Planet Zoo projects now. Always kind of, just subdued, but still pushing the envelope a little bit to where, no, this couldn't happen, or maybe it could happen. And that's kind of like another fun little, like, new technique that I'm moving into with Planet Zoo that makes it kind of fun to come back and just keep retrying things on this title. And the African wild dog was no exception. Really fun to jump in and try to mix that style. One of the funnest places I love to see the African wild dogs is Animal Kingdom. One of the things that I think I could change here, we'll go into the real time and look at it in a minute, but if you remember at Animal Kingdom, they're really big there on kind of like the fake caves to kind of let the dogs go in and get out of the heat. Now here in a minute you'll see I actually give them some wooden platform shelters that we actually steal from the African lion exhibit. And I think that if I do anything, it will go back and make some of the little hideout spots and some of the little cooling areas. I'd like to go in and make them some not necessarily tunnels, but just, more natural looking shade over just having the wooden platforms. So don't get me wrong, the wooden platforms look good. They help with that hint of realism as far as giving them the sleeping platforms, but also giving them almost like a little house that they can go under and get out of the sun. So that it looks good. But I think maybe we could do it a little bit better. This whole area has completely been transformed numerous times. At one point, I believe there was an aviary here. You have to remember the latest actual animal that inhabited this spot was the giant river otter. That stayed in here for about a month of Suyana life. Maybe made it in for a couple videos, maybe about 2 months. And then we totally deleted this area. I didn't like the way it looked, but I guess the reason I thought I was hitting on the African wild dogs really well is because it essentially, when you move into this area, you're moving into the African area. Remember, when you're leaving World of Flight, you're kind of coming out of that kind of like that opening jungle feel, and this is one of the first main areas, because remember, the Elephant Springs, the East Asian area is not even built yet. So when you're making your way back through here, I thought, what would be an awesome exhibit to kind of start hinting at the African area? And when I came across the wild dogs, that was a species that it's never been in Suyana, and I think it is a wonderful introduction species to this whole area, and especially, before you get back to the big guys, the elephants, the lions, the giraffes. We don't have the rhinos in yet. Maybe I will even put them in over here as like a little companion species, kind of near our wild dogs. But, that's just kind of things that I kind of wanted to start doing a little bit with the storytelling, and just introducing the guests to areas via smaller exhibits and, not as well known big ticket animals. So anyways, let's go ahead. Let's jump out of here, and I will show you what it looks like in real time in relation to the African area. And we'll just pop off and do you a quick tour of this area and what the guests will see. So hold on one sec, and we will pop over to Siana as it sits in May. Alright guys, didn't this come out pretty cool? Kind of like just, right off where you make your way down that main little path there. Kind of going into the African area. And this is where our little guys sit now. And one of the last things to really do is kind of work on some of the filling. Kind of like the bush work, a little bit of rock work. But yeah, this is kind of like, this is their new area for our newest Suyana pack. And still, I think, pretty big for a zoo setting. But we've got their big tree for their shade. They've got all kinds of little nooks and crannies to explore. Kind of got these almost like the little sharper bushes down in here to kind of just naturally kind of want to keep them back, kind of like away from their actual fencing. Did the double barrier fencing like you guys talked about, so the guests, of course, stopped right here, but the animals stopped from in there. And yeah, so this was the old otter habitat. And what I was just saying, we may be able to kind of design some of this, maybe even chunk out this kind of corner right here, kind of going back over towards Leaf's Riverwalk, and maybe able to do some rhinos right there, or even let the rhinos be a neighbor to the African elephants, because remember, we kind of closed off their exhibit a little bit because it was already pretty large. So them stretching all the way over to where the old pizzeria used to be, they didn't even really go over there a lot. But they still have like I said, a pretty large yard. And then you have the underground viewing section. Underground viewing section for the big guys over here, kind of positioned right here, kind of to the side of their lagoon waterfall. And then their direct neighbor is the lions, who are all taking naps right now. Some other little changes that I made when you come into the African village area. Kind of first we've spun Suyana Tours, so you can see it is facing out this way now with the custom sign from Bold. You'll still kind of load in the same area, but to actually access it now, you just walk in right from this little, kind of like this little main drag area. And when you come through here, this is kind of what I was talking about. If you remember, we had some large power lines stretching across here, and we had a massive, like a pylon with some more foliage. I kind of got rid of that just so when you're coming through here, Haint's lion statue is just a little more prominent, and you know, it kind of pulls you back to this area a little more. And now see it just like really, the further you walk back, like the more presence that absolutely insane statue has, guiding you back here to the our little Savannah lions over here. And then of course over off to your right, what we just looked at, you get your shot of the African elephants. So these are definitely the big ticket items in the back of Siana over here. But yeah, you guys will have to let me know, who do you think should be the elephant's neighbor? We've got this massive plot right here that I am reserving for an exhibit. So are you thinking maybe the rhinos here? What kind of animal would you like to see? You know, more African based, and you know, the giraffes and stuff, they already have their little area, kind of like the giraffe walk over here, so they're covered. We've got some Gemsbok, I don't know how many, we've got a pretty good bit of them in here. Got the Gemsbok covered. We do have some zebra in here. Well, we did, I don't know if we've got some zebra in here. Sometimes they get a little wild and they get boxed up. So the zebras are here. I want to say, did we? No, I think we took the antelopes out of here. So yes, in here you've got your Gemsbok, you've got your really, really big hoofstock type area. We've got your Gemsbok, your giraffes, and your zebras, kind of in this larger savanna enclosure. And like before, I'm working on the double barrier fencing. So yeah. And then, you know, this is kind of, when you make your way back through here, this is kind of getting out of the African area, because remember I said we're kind of making this line up a little more for a North American type vibe if we wanted to go that direction. So that will kind of be the entrance tunnel, kind of like transitioning you out of the African area. Then of course we've got P-Blade and Bold's incredible work over here, kind of like in this little Asian area. Very, very awesome. What other changes have I done? I brought in some blueprints, actually. Somebody at Frontier made some really, really cool research stations, like research buildings, and I just thought that this whole facade fit in really well, kind of like with this welcome archway. And then of course you have the little Babarusa here getting all muddy. Really, really happy with how this exhibit turned out. If I could go back and do anything different, I might make this path like a little more bowed right here. But then, you know, that gives these guys a pretty good bit of space. So yeah, you've got your big welcome sign right here, Tiger Falls, Africa. Off to your left, Rainforest, Amani Trail by Carlos G. Big shout out to Carlos G72 for doing that Amani Trail for me. And the primates off to the right as well. We've got some of them. We've got the big guy coming across the ropes right now. Picked these awesome climbing structures up off of the workshop. I can't remember off the top of my head who did those, but if you see this video and you did this, definitely give yourself a shout out down below, because these turned out killer for our orangutan area. And yeah, so this is kind of like guarded by a little lagoon, so they can't come across. And yeah, this is like their little habitat, their little sanctuary back here. Love the buffalo grass, a new little technique I picked up from one of you guys, just, you know, barely sinking this into the ground and then matching it with some, you know, with, I think it matches really, really well with the sand paint. For me right now, it is the fine sand that I'm using on this map. And I think it just kicks off that grass kind of, you know, worn look really, really well. If you turn over here off to your left, this is just purely a show lagoon. This is a non-habitat, just type foliage show area. When you're coming through here, if you're going to make your way to Leaf's Riverwalk or Bold's Jaguar Cafe, we stop you with some gift shop items. We've got 2 gift shops on either side with the Riverside Trading Post kind of anchoring that left side coming across the bridge. So you can stop in there and grab your merch and your t-shirts and your mugs. And then, like we was talking, moving kind of towards your African area, kind of getting you in that vibe. We have Flights of Wonder off to the right, and then we have Basic Builders, really, really awesome Riverside Depot facade, straight out of Animal Kingdom, flanking our right side. And we even have some little water buffalo over here for you. They're usually over hanging out on that beach, or they're taking a dip in their little lagoon, running around over here. And they've got a really, really massive set of waterfalls. He's like, get out of here. Did we ask to be bothered? And this is where your video began, right as you come through this little awning, which I also found on the workshop. This is where you're going to get your first encounter with the wild dogs. Oh, one is using that's exactly what I intended, to use that kind of as a shade in a little bedding area underneath there. Very, very cool. There's like nothing more satisfying than when a Planet Zoo animal uses what you intended it to be used for. You know, might not even be a bad idea to flank them with another little tree over here, just for a little bit more shade. You know, even something. Maybe even spin it a little bit, but you know, that doesn't even look bad. Kind of really adds some symmetry to this side of the exhibit and gives them more shade down here. But still leaves it nice and open. Like, I mean, you could be all the way over here and still get a really good look at them. And then, of course, they've got the logs to, you know, mark on, and kind of like using those as little, kind of like little fake enrichment items. Then you have this little boardwalk over here where you can get some really, really good views. Maybe the best views in the whole exhibit right here, just because you're so close right here. This little outcrop. Very, very fun on that. But yeah, you guys gotta throw me out some ideas. We still have quite a bit of space left. You know, one could argue we could even do 2 exhibits right here, possibly even 3 if we did like maybe a section right here and then section it off right here, so you'd almost have like an exhibit here, almost like a little cone shape, flanked by 2 other animals. So, you know, or if you guys are thinking maybe even restaurant or something, we could anchor right here. And then, like we also mentioned, something needs to go right here. This is an open space now. We could turn that into, could extend the lagoon out this way even, or, you know, a Leaf's Riverwalk over here. Kind of coming down through here to the shops and the hotels, tropical imports, grab you a drink, just all kinds of cool little shops right back through here before you kind of start heading into the African area. Not a whole lot has changed with the entrance. We've just got some artwork here. We still have Pizzafari off to the right-hand side. I think that looks really, really well. We've got your restrooms right when you come in. We've got the mist fans going. Komodo dragons, really, really happy with their layout. So these guys are still over here, kind of like almost essentially one of the first animals you encounter in Suyana with Komodo Island here. So very, 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 very fun idea to have those guys so prominent right when you first walk in. I think those guys would be a big hit. Then you kind of start making your way, kind of where you have to really start making decisions on which way you're going to go, kind of here at the Welcome Center, the Welcome Bridge. We've got our little relaxation and our butterfly garden down here. We have Woody's little aviary down here with some, just some parakeets and stuff in it. All implied, of course. Frontier has not given us birds yet. And this is your little butterfly garden you can slip away to. Like, kind of like little pathways and stuff back through there. One of the biggest projects I keep putting off, just because I don't know if I can make it look right, is Elephant Springs, which if you see, spring 2023, it was supposed to be here right now, but it is facing a little bit of a delay, but we will get to working on that eventually. Maybe see what the next pack is, which of course they've given us like an insanely useful pack in the tropical pack, you know, that we could jump down and really start going hard with, but just still kind of mulling over some ideas of what we want that to look like back through there. So haven't given that a real big run yet, but we'll get to it. And yeah, so that is officially how Suyana sits. Big shout out to Remnant for just doing this masterful parking lot for me and whole entrance area. But yeah, as of May 22nd, this is how Suyana sits, and I'm still very much invested in it. Just happy with it. Just love how it's evolved, and how we've, you know, kind of like not abandoned it, and let it, you know, we just kind of let it play out over the years, and we've always just kind of kept Suyana on our radar and kept the changes going. And I honestly think this is like the best it has ever looked. Just the jungle vibe we have going on now, and the exhibits just look more cohesive, and I am just having an absolute ball with this. I jumped on it. I just really started messing with this again probably last Thursday, and I had just another one of those couple hour-long sessions just jumping in and tweaking little things and kind of looking at zoo concept art again, and I've not done that in a while, so that was really fun to kind of just jump back into this and yeah, you know, just kind of hammer out some ideas. But anyways, guys, I know I kind of kept you here a good while. Just wanted to really jump in and show you the wild dog exhibit and get your thoughts on that. But yeah, let me know, and don't forget to smash the like button if you end up enjoying this video, and comment, because that helps push it out to more people. When YouTube sees that people are interacting with the video, they think other people may want to interact with it. So the commenting is a big help to anything that just drives that engagement to where YouTube puts it on more people's home screens, and hopefully we get more clicks. So I'm S. Wolf. As always, thank you for stopping by and hanging out with me for some more Planet Zoo mischief, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya!